is ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Ebolomo Adekunle. In our major story, President Goodluck Jonathan to hand over to President-elect Muhammadu Buhari on the 28th of May. Also in this program, Senate and House of Representatives to discuss the decision of President Goodluck Jonathan to veto constitutional amendments sent to him by the National Assembly. War of words in court at the resumed hearing of alleged Nyaya bombing mastermind Aminu Oguche over moves to screen him from public view. And outside Nigeria, Iranian President Hassan Rouhani gives condition for acceptance of comprehensive nuclear deal. President Goodluck Jonathan plans to formally hand over to his successor, Muhammadu Buhari, on May 28th. He has consequently mandated heads of ministries, departments and agencies of government to make their handover notes available before April 20th. Minister of Information Patricia Akwashiki disclosed this to State House correspondents at the end of the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja. She added that already 2 committees headed by Vice President Namadi Sambo and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Ayim Pius Ayim, are already making arrangement for a hitch-free transition.
You know, we are already in transition, so there is very little to report. What we discussed with the President and Council is he emphasized on the need for all MDGs and government parastatals and department agencies to submit their handing over notes to the office of the SGF by the 20th. That is next Monday. So we are going to be very busy this weekend putting our notes, handing over notes together. The President also emphasized that he would require another little briefing from all MDGs to indicate inherited projects, how far it has been executed, and initiated projects by his administration, and the level of completion, whether completed or ongoing or abandoned. So that was it at the Executive Council. We discussed other issues, but we are particularly paying attention to the transition, how we would make it effective. As you are all aware, we have a transitional committee already set up by the President, headed by the Vice President. Other than that, we also have an inaugural committee that is headed by the SGF. So everything we are doing towards achieving a smooth transition, getting all our notes together. By the 28th of this month, the President intends to have the formal handing over done at a dinner, so that we can reserve the 29th for the incoming. By the 28th, we expect to have concluded everything about governance, and we're welcoming the incoming government by the 29th. Also, you know that 29th is our Democracy Day, so we have activities lined up all through that week, showcasing what we have achieved and all other things we do normally on our Democracy Day, except that this year is special with the inauguration of our new president that is coming up on the 29th.
Senate President David Mack says President Goodluck Jonathan has set a new democratic template for Africa in the eyes of the international community. This, he says, is as a result of the manner the president conceded defeat and congratulated President-elect Muhammadu Buhari before final results were announced. The Senate President also congratulated the incoming president and all National Assembly members who are now governors-elect. He said this in a welcome address to senators on resumption from the Easter break.
The maturity and sportsmanship displayed by President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan GCFR, who willingly conceded defeat and immediately congratulated the President-elect General Muhammadu Buhari GCFR, even before the Independent National Electoral Commission announced the result. That singular act saved us from a possible crisis and catastrophe. The President's action added value to the consolidation of democracy in our land. It raised the benchmark of peaceful democratic transition and consequently set a new democratic template in our continent notorious for her infamous sit-tight leaders. I also extend my warm felicitation to the President-elect, General Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. The President-elect has extended the hand of fellowship to President Jonathan and his team. He has also followed it up with conciliatory statements that further reinforce the unity and peace in our society.
Meanwhile, the Senate has called a meeting of its Constitution Review Committee to deliberate on President Jonathan's decision to reject the amendment. At least one senator also raised a point of order and insisted that issues raised by the president needed to be discussed at plenary. Senate President David Mack agreed on the need to deliberate on it, but noted that all the senators need to go through the 7-page letter before taking a stand.
So many weighty issues have been raised by the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in the letter you just read. And I think it is important for us to discuss that letter and see whether there is need for us to consider the letter or not. I think he has raised very serious fundamental issues, especially in terms of our functions as lawmakers and in terms of also his own position as the Chief Executive Officer of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The first reaction is for me to make copies available to everybody. And then they go and you study it. And if you notice, there is an announcement also by the Constitution Review Committee that they are going to meet. So that will straight away go to them. I agree with you that weighty issues have been raised. It's a peculiar case, so everybody will be involved.
In the same vein, President Goodluck Jonathan has listed 12 reasons why he decided to withhold assent to the recent constitution amendment made by the National Assembly. He offered his reasons in separate letters sent to the two chambers and read by the leadership of the legislative houses. President Jonathan argued in the letter that the alteration of some sections of the Constitution was also not supported by 4/5 majority of the two chambers and not less than 2/3 of State House of Assembly. Senate President David Mack and Speaker Aminu Tambuwal presented the President's position.
I have accordingly examined the substance of the provisions and the procedure adopted by the National Assembly to pass the Act and wish to observe as follows. A. Section 4, alteration of Section 9. Section 4 of the 4th Alteration Act 2015 seeks to alter Section 9 of the 1999 Constitution by the insertion of a new Section 3A, which dispenses with the assent of the President in the process of constitutional amendment. However, this alteration can only be valid if the proposal was supported by the votes of not less than 4/5 majority of all the members of each House of the National Assembly and approved by a resolution of the Houses of Assembly of not less than 2/3 of all the states as provided by Section 9(3) of the 1999 Constitution. This is a fundamental requirement of the Constitution, and in the absence of credible evidence that this requirement was met in the votes and proceedings of the National Assembly, it would be unconstitutional for me to assent to this bill. In light of the above, I am of the respectful view that I should withhold assent until it can be shown that the National Assembly has complied with the threshold specified in Section 9(3) of the 1999 Constitution.
The popular Maman Kotangora building housing the Federal Mortgage Bank and the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation on Lagos Island has been gutted by fire. The fire, which was said to have started from the generator room in the multi-story building, which later spread to some other parts of the building. Kazim Kasali, who was at the scene of the fire, filed in this report presented from our studio.
The fire, according to the director of the Lagos State Fire Service, Rasak Fadipe, started around 9 a.m. in the morning and was promptly attended to by consulting a fire service within the vicinity of the burning building, with the Lagos State Fire Service taking the lead.
Initially, when we came in, the fire outbreak, it was raging severely, and we've been able to put it under control with the assistance of other fire services in the state, the LASEMA, Julius Vega, UBA, MPA. We've been able to do that. Any casualty, and I've not been told of anyone at all.
Others who participated in the firefighting operation, like the Fire Department of the Nigerian Port Authority, declined to put their comments on record. Owners of the building, the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, who spoke through its managing director, Gimba Kumo, says the bank and its tenants have not lost any major document. He, however, added that the bank will keep the public informed of further development once the fire is completely put off.
The building occupies two sides, the Marina side and the Broad Street side. Nothing has happened to the Broad Street side, and I've been informed by the ED of NDIC, not any major document from their side is lost. Not any major document from our side is also lost.
But for this eyewitness, Tunde Adelaja, the response to the fire, though a good thing, the antics of the Federal Fire Service is a thing that brings immense sadness to him.
But the Federal Fire Service too came with the camera in their hand, with the organ marching up and down, without any equipment. Lagos Fire Service, yes, they were there. They were there with rest. They were there on time. Therefore, the fact that they are distance. They were there. They came with two tankers. They came with two tankers.
The fire service are, however, still battling with the fire around 4 p.m. when CoreTV News left the scene, though it has been put under control.
Quite sad. The trial of Aminu Oguche, the alleged mastermind of the Yaya bus terminal bombing, and 5 others at the Federal High Court Abuja has been dodged due to the prosecution's application seeking to modify order of secret trial of the suspects. The court, on March 18th, rejected a motion for prosecution witnesses to be hooded while giving testimony in court. But at the resumed trial, prosecution counsel Aminu Ogunshina informed the court of his application asking for an order for the use of screens to shield the witnesses from public view. Counsel to the accused, Ahmed Raji, objected to the application, describing it as a ploy by the prosecution to frustrate the trial. The trial judge, Justice Ahmed Mohammed, adjourned the matter till May 11th and 12th for hearing on the prosecution's application and commencement of trial.
In the spirit of the practice direction, which enjoins all the courts taking offenses relating to terrorism to speedily hear and determine the matter, we opted out of any bail application, and we all agreed that this matter should be dealt with speedily so that the accused persons would know their fate. They brought an application to say that they wanted to limit the number of people in the court. They wanted all sorts of indulgence, and the court ruled after arguments from both sides, or all the sides. Then this morning, they were just serving us an application to modify that order when they knew that the matter is coming up for hearing and that they are supposed to come with their witnesses. They filed the application on the 9th. They didn't serve on the 10th, that night. They didn't serve on the 12th or 11th or 13th or 14th. They waited till this morning. And when an application is filed and it is not ripe for hearing, the court cannot do anything. So we are left with no other impression than to infer that this was a ploy to delay or avoid the hearing of this case today.
And 1 year after the Yaya bus terminal bombing, security agencies are still looking for one of the alleged masterminds, Rufai Tsiga, also known as Dr. Tsiga. Spokesperson of the Department of State Services, Marilyn Oga, disclosed this at a security briefing in Abuja. She noted that a bounty of 25 million naira was placed on the head of the wanted man in the aftermath of the bomb attack that killed about 75 persons in one of Abuja's suburbs. He was declared wanted alongside Aminu Oguche, who was later arrested and extradited from Sudan.
Once you get to see him, you will know that that's the wanted person. He's still wanted. If at all he's been arrested, of course we'd have shown him to the public like we did. As for the other case, he's still in court.
The federal government says it is redoubling efforts to rescue the abducted Chibok girls without incurring any collateral damage. Coordinator of the National Information Center, Michael Mary, explained at a security briefing in Abuja that many of the operational challenges that affected the rescue mission have now been addressed. He added that steps have also been made to secure territories retaken from Boko Haram.
Are in concert with anybody to take any child away. And that is why we have a government. And a government has a responsibility. And that responsibility is the security and safety of citizens of the entire country. Remember the story of Chibok. You remember how it happened. Remember that within this journey of finding the girls, a lot needed to be done. Facilities, hardware needed to be procured. We have spoken about this severally. There are so many operational challenges that came with the rescue of Chibok girls and the fight against insurgency, which have barely been overcome.
You're watching the CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take a break and be back with more reports. Don't go away.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emotan of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
Many thanks for being there with us. And if you're just joining us, it's the CoreTV Primetime News, and here are our major stories. President Goodluck Jonathan to hand over to President-elect Muhammadu Buhari on the 28th of May. Senate and House of Representatives to discuss the decision of President Goodluck Jonathan to veto constitutional amendments sent to him by the National Assembly. War of words in court at the resumed hearing of alleged Nyanya bombing mastermind Aminu Oguche over moves to screen him from public view. And for more news and other information, you can visit our social media platforms. On Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News. Tweet at us at CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space, then news. The All Progressives Congress Youth Forum wants Nigerians to be patient with the incoming administration as it is committed to delivering on its promises. Members of the forum also called on the youths to be vigilant and to ensure that the agents of change are accountable for their pledge. This, according to the group, is because a lot is expected from the incoming government, especially in the area of security, job creation, economy, and education.
We as young people must be patient to see the dividends of change truly come from this government. We must also be vigilant and ensure that the agents of change, those who we have entrusted with the positions of authority, remain accountable to the promises that they have made to this young generation and generations that would come after ours. We must forge ahead, united as a sovereign and indivisible nation under God, and ensure that every Nigerian benefits from the successes that we have just attained at the polls. So take care of corruption, make sure that you get it to the barest minimum, appreciable level of decency, and then and get a lot of young people employed or provide the enabling environment so that people could thrive on their own. Nigerian young people are mostly very ingenious young people, so once they get the required environment, enabling environment, I'm sure they'll be able to thrive on their own, and that's what we're hoping this administration will be able to push forward really forcefully.
Traders wants President-elect Muhammadu Buhari to consider pruning the public service to a manageable size as part of steps to reduce recurrent expenditure. They also want him to continue with some policies of the outgoing administration, which they describe as forward-looking. President of the National Association of Nigerian Traders, Ken Ukauha, said this at a news conference in Abuja.
Of the policies that we want the administration to continue with is the local content policy that would retain and generate more jobs for our teeming unemployed population. Number 4 is our national rice policy, targeted at increasing local production of rice in Nigeria, so that we will not continue to remain import dependent for our foods. Number 5 is the refusal to sign the ECOWAS European Union Economic Partnership Agreement in its current concluded form. And I'm sure, gentlemen of the media, you know that Nigeria is one country that has resisted and has continued to refuse to sign the EPA.
The All Progressives Congress Imo State Chapter has expressed dissatisfaction with the conduct of the Independent National Electoral Commission in the just concluded gubernatorial and State House of Assembly elections. The Director General, APC Campaign Organization, and other chieftains in the state disclosed this while addressing newsmen at the Willie Roches complex along Okigwe Road in Owerri, the state capital. Our correspondent Ajibadi Awufeso was there and filed in this report.
The APC campaign DG, while delivering his press statement, said the facts on ground are enough to show that the APC candidate has indeed won the election.
Who were supposed to be neutral and umpires. Our first opponent in this election was INEC. They colluded with PDP in virtually all the local governments in most states, particularly in Owerri zone and the Bisa area, prevent people from exercising their franchise.
He called on INEC to revisit the entire results, do their arithmetic well, that they will see reason to declare the All Progressive Congress candidate.
We have advantage in total number of vote casts to the tune of 79,000. We have an advantage. We also have geographical spread. We secured more than 5% of the vote cast in more than 2/3 of the local governments of Imo State. But we have not been declared the winners of this election.
They, however, consent to the supplementary election if that is what it takes to clear their doubt. But in that case, it should be conducted with all form of transparency to avoid the same menace resurfacing. Ajibade Awofeso, CoreTV News, Owerri.
Imo State Governor Rocha Sokorocha has called on his supporters to remain calm even as they all await victory after the supplementary poll. The APC incumbent governor made the call while addressing the journalists at the state government house. Our correspondent Ajibade Awofeso again was there and filed in this report.
Reiterating the fact that the April 11 Guba polls was clearly won by the APC, Imo State Governor Rocha Sokorocha has asked his supporters to remain calm.
I congratulate the winner accordingly. So together we can build the Imo State of our collective hopes and aspirations. I know most of you are eagerly waiting for this victory, but let me assure all of you that this victory can only be delayed or can never be denied.
While speaking, the governor also assured the supporters who gave in to ensure his victory at the polls will not be forgotten by the government.
Again, as we wait patiently for INEC to make good democracy in Imo State, I want to commend all those who fought and defended their vote in their various booths and who suffers all forms of humiliations and brutality in the hands of the opposition party. We tell them to take heart, and this government will remember them and reward them accordingly.
Meanwhile, youth in the state keep calling for declaration of the incumbent governor as the winner of the April 11 polls.
The battle as to who gains the seat of the Douglas House still rages on, as INEC is yet to pronounce a winner. The Imolites are looking forward to another polls as supplementary election is going to be run in the state again. Ajibade Awofeso, CoreTV News, Owerri.
The Independent National Electoral Commission has fixed the Imo State supplementary governorship elections for the 25th of this month. The commission, which had earlier declared the election inconclusive, says the elections will hold at some polling units across the 23 local government areas of the state.
But the facts remain that it is not only in Imo that the election has been declared inconclusive. The same situation is in Taraba. The same situation is in Abia. So my advice is we should stop deceiving the public. Let us tell them what INEC said, and that is the true position. And let us get prepared for those supplementary elections in those areas.
Federal lawmakers from Akwa Ibom State are demanding the cancellation of last Saturday's election in the state on the ground of alleged electoral fraud and violence. They also want the Independent National Electoral Commission to conduct fresh polls. The lawmakers claimed that armed youths forced INEC officials to rig the election in favor of their principal.
We call on INEC to please reschedule the election in Akwa Ibom while the present result of election is cancelled.
While people went out to vote, there were in each of the local governments
between 30, 40, 50 buses and Hilux vehicles manned by persons in police and military uniform with guns who were on rampage, going around each of the polling units, carting away electoral materials during or after accreditation.
More than half the units didn't see ballot paper or materials with their eyes. More than half. The other half, some saw for just maybe 1 hour or a few minutes. And before you said Jack Robinson, people came and carted them away. Others saw the materials, few of the units, and at least they saw the personnel and so on, and they wanted to start accreditation, but of course, no result sheets. After the accredited voters had voted, the officials themselves, we said, what do you want to do with the remaining ballot papers? They should be voted. They were being done in people's homes, in the full glare of the society, and you dare not even go near that street.
The Independent National Electoral Commission in Ekiti State has presented certificates of return to duly elected senators and representatives. INEC, however, laments the high cost of electioneering period while calling for sanitization of the system. The newly elected PDP lawmakers on their part highlighted the challenges of being in the opposition party but vowed to surmount the problems.
After the March 28th election, Ekiti State has no doubt gone through its fair share of political metamorphosis, but as the governor continues to celebrate his victory at the Supreme Court, the newly elected PDP National Assembly members have received their certificates of return. INEC at the presentation, the National Commissioner for Ekiti and Ogun, Lai Olurode, laments the high cost of electioneering process, which in turn makes the elected officials not to be accountable.
We cannot sit through elections without the support of deployment of large security agents to the field. It shouldn't be like that. We have witnessed monitored elections in Ghana, we have been to Kenya, we have been to smaller African countries. You can hardly notice the presence of security agents. The cost of doing election in this country is quite huge compared to what the cost is in other African countries. You know how much you have spent. It shouldn't be. In America is one of the richest, if not the richest country in the world. America does not spend as much as an average legislator spends in the cost of electioneering in this country. And you have to recoup back this money. Where are you going to get it back? It has to be from the public purse. So therefore, the less the money that is spent on electioneering, the better for the country.
Although clearing all seats at the National Assembly in the state, the PDP will be minority members in the Senate, being for the first time to be in the opposition. They, however, reeled out their plans.
The beauty of democracy is that you must network and you must be able to put your better foot forward. And that's what we're going to do. Because in the Senate, the ruling party does not also command the two-thirds majority in both chambers. So they will need us to pass any major bill that is coming. Don't forget that in that Senate is the Senate President, who has been Senate President for 4 terms, and also the Deputy Senate President. That is major experience, and such people can network easily. I know with their leadership and with the fact that most of us are not new members to the legislature, we will do exceedingly well.
With the elections over and winners having emerged, the stage is now set for another political dispensation. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mahmood Mohammed, has decried the rising rate of fake lawyers in the country. He said this at the launch of the Nigerian Bar Association's stamp and affinity products in Abuja. The CJN urged the NBA to ensure that the stamp is used as a means of identifying qualified legal practitioners.
The prevalence of fake lawyers in the country negatively affects the integrity of the legal profession and casts a shadow of disrepute upon all of us. Indeed, judges find it difficult to identify which counsel appearing before them is genuine or otherwise. Of even greater concern is the fact that members of the public are often left in quandary over who they can place their trust, property, or even lives in. We must not forget that the credibility of the bar has a direct impact on respect for the rule of law and the independence of our courts.
It's the CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take another break and return with business, sports, and other stories from outside Nigeria. Don't go away.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
And now to business. The chairman of Lagos Internal Revenue Service, Babatunde Fowler, says the monthly internal generated revenue of Lagos State stands at 23 billion naira since 2014. Fowler made this disclosure at the 2015 ministerial press briefing, marking the 4th year of the second term of Governor Babatunde Fashola's administration in office. He also affirms that the board has charged to court over 600 tax offenders at the State High Court. Also speaking at the media parley, the special advisor to Governor Fashola on taxation, Abimbola Shodipo, noted that Lagos tax net has risen from 2.7 million in 2011 to 4.5 million.
We filed 686 cases at the High Court of Lagos at the beginning of the year with a total liability of 11.6 billion, out of which 376 we received distraint orders on, amounting to liability of 8.1 billion. Out of that 8.1 billion, they have paid 771 million.
About 8.4 million people should be paying tax in Lagos. Of course, as of today, we are not there yet. We are not saying we have 8.4 million in our data, but again, we have made enormous progress without hurting our people. You know, we have moved from about 2 million rem to about 4 million rem. You know, gradually we will get there.
Chairman of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, Dr. Sam Amadi, has said the agency's decision to initiate and sanction a joint tariff design process by electricity consumers and distribution companies was based on 3 key reasons. Amadi said in addition to applying the standard practice of allowing distribution companies come up with data that form its final decision and roll out electricity rates to be paid by consumers, it has decided to further deepen the service relationship between electricity consumers and distribution companies via the joint tariff review process. According to the NERC chairman, the new policy was informed by the need to expand the knowledge of consumers on the operations of the distribution companies to enable them make informed criticism of their actions. And now we'll join Sabena Izoku for the stock market report for today.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report.
Hello there and welcome to the Stock Market Report segment with me, Sabena Izuku. Equities market on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today as Nigerian All-Shares Index depreciated by 0.22% to close at 34,965.88 basis points. The market capitalization declined to 11.91 trillion naira. In all, a total volume of 290.8 million units of shares valued at 3.7 billion naira were exchanged in 4,659 deals. On the gainer side, Seplat Oil topped the gainers chart, followed by 7up, Total, Guinness, and Beta Glass. On the loser side, 40 Oil, Nigerian Breweries, Mobil, Nestle, and West African Production Company. On the trader side was United Bank for Africa, Eco Transnational Incorporation, UB Capital, GTB, Guaranty Trust Bank, and Fidelity Bank. Just before we wrap up the stock market report, here's the currency trade for today. I am Savannah Zoko.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report.
For stories in the sporting world, we join Frank Omalape.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Here's that ball storming, Puyol with a flying lead.
Go, taking him out the lead immediately.
Well, thank you for joining me on Sport News tonight. I'm Frank Omalape. Nigeria's Dream Team 6 will face either Ghana, Liberia or Congo in the third round of the 2015 CAF Under-23 Championship qualifying series. The 2015 CAF Under-23 Championship, billed for Senegal in December, acts as qualification to the 2016 Summer Olympics men's football for the Confederation of African Football, with the top 3 teams qualifying and the 4th place finisher playing in a playoff against a team from the Asian Football Confederation. The Black Meteors will slug it out with the winner between Liberia and Congo in second round and may likely face Samson Siasia's team in the third round for a ticket to the CAF Under-23 Championship. According to CAF, all players participating in the preliminary and final tournament of 23 African Championships shall be born or after January 1st, 1993. And now Borussia Dortmund coach Jürgen Klopp has said he will leave the Bundesliga club at the end of the season. The 47-year-old German asked to be released from his contract, which had been due to run until 2018. Klopp has coached Dortmund since 2008, taking them the 2 league titles and the Champions League final in 2012 to 2013. But this term, they are currently 10th. They lie 37 points behind leaders Bayern Munich. And in boxing now, Floyd Mayweather says he will fight just one more after next month's clash with Manny Pacquiao because he no longer enjoys the sport. The unbeaten American is made to fight with Manny. He's the 5th of a 6-fight contract with broadcaster Showtime. A 38-year-old Mayweather says fun has gone out of boxing, which he now regards as a job. Mayweather took part in an open training section before telling reporters that Manny, a boot at the MGM Hotel in Las Vegas, will see 2 fighters meeting at the pinnacle of their careers. The fight is expected to be richest in boxing history. With us, and that's the final whistle and sport news tonight. The rest of the news continue shortly.
Our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
And outside Nigeria, Iranian President Hassan Rouhani says on Wednesday Tehran will not accept a comprehensive nuclear deal with major powers if all sanctions imposed on Tehran were not lifted, state television reported. The end of these negotiations and a signed deal must include a declaration of cancellation of the oppressive sanctions on the great nation of Iran. Rouhani also says the U.S. Congress' power to review a nuclear deal with Iran was a domestic matter. And that's it on CoreTV Primetime News tonight. But before we go, a recap of our major stories. President Goodluck Jonathan to hand over to President-elect Muhammadu Buhari on the 28th of May. Senate and House of Representatives set to discuss the decision of President Goodluck Jonathan to veto constitutional amendment sent to him by the National Assembly. And finally, there was war of words in court at the resumed hearing of alleged Yaya bombing mastermind Aminu Oguche over moves to screen him from public view. Thanks so much for staying with us, and on behalf of the entire news crew, I am Ebulomo Adekunle wishing you a pleasant night rest.